What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06, one of the greatest NCAA games ever to be created. And we are out here, man, week number 7 here in the 5th season of the FCS Dynasty, getting to that critical halfway point in the season. Who has that dog in them? And who's just a pretender? We start to find out those questions and more here in this episode. So make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand spanking new to the channel and you like college football content like I do. And we jump into the first FCS game that we have here in this episode. We got Delaware going on at home, taking on the number 8 team in the land, the New Hampshire Wildcats. And how about Delaware getting off to a strong start? They just take the lead on the number 8 team in all of college football, as that is going to be a 41-yard touchdown pass. Big time throw there out on the perimeter, and we will take that 7-0 lead. Now, later into the second quarter, New Hampshire's offense being held pretty quietly so far. We'll see if Delaware can extend their lead here a little bit, as we'll see this Blumenthal drop back to pass. He's got a little bit of time. He's going to take another deep shot, and this deep shot is going to be completed as well. Literally cannot make this up. The Blue Hens, they are chirping pretty loud and pretty clear here on this beautiful weekday, as this game is not played on a Saturday. They actually play this, Thursday night football, trying to, be reminiscent of that action, having those middle of the week kind of games. They were one of the first games of week number 7 actually played, both in gameplay and, just in general. But New Hampshire is going to find a little bit of a rhythm here, as Brian Hall, he's going to get his first interception of the season. And New Hampshire, they really needed that in the worst way possible, because their offense has been struggling mightily in this game, and Bruno Baggio not having that time is a big reason for that, as Derek Tetzel, he's going to get his second sack of the season. But it just goes to show, man, New Hampshire, they did not bring their A game, and they will face yet another third down. They have not had a single third down conversion this entire game, playing in one of the tougher stadiums in the FCS in Delaware. But that throw is going to help big time, though, as Bruno Baggio, he's going to connect with one of his big body receivers there. Now closing in on the red zone. 2nd and 11 from the 22-yard line. Baggio trying to throw towards the end zone, and that will be caught. Touchdown, New Hampshire. And it's back to just being a one-score game. But can they find more magic? And they won't, as Bruno Baggio is going to throw an untimely interception right before that 2-minute mark in the fourth quarter. This could spell major trouble right now. Blumenthal with a chance to seal the game. He's going to hand it off to the tailback. Tailback gets out on the perimeter. He's got a lot of space to work with across the 50, 40, brought down at about the 30-yard line, as that is Otis Grip, one of the more electric return men in all of college football down here at the FCS level. He's really liking it, just making a big-time play for his quarterback. And that's just one of those runs. You're just trying to, get rid of what's left on the clock. You're trying to hang on for dear life. And now you could possibly make this a 2-possession game and really put this game away. We'll see how Delaware attacks this. 2nd and 1 from the 11-yard line. They will hand it off to their tailback once again. He's got the blocks, and he's going to find the end zone too. Touchdown for the Delaware Blue Hens. 21-7. And unless there's a miracle that happens on this football field, the number 8 team in the middle of the week, they're going to go down. So Bruno Baggio, he's the only one that can stop that from happening. He's going to need to score a quick touchdown and hope for the onside kick. Baggio's going to throw. Got some time this time around. Throws to the right-hand side and throws a dime. 15 trying to make a play on the ball, but he ends up falling down. And hey, that was that quick touchdown that they were looking for. he can make some plays for you when he's, able to actually have some time in the pocket. He was the #1 quarterback in his high school class, but, those little spurts, couldn't do enough here, as New Hampshire is going to drop another game here. Second loss of the season already, as Delaware, they get a win that they desperately needed. They get back to 500, as Delaware wins 21-14, and that will keep them well alive in the conference championship hunt, as they're going to need that conference championship. Delaware wants to make the FCS playoffs. Big trouble here for New Hampshire, though. So usually I don't like to do a studio update, but there wasn't really any noon or 3 o'clock games that I wanted to check out for you guys. So, we're going to check out some of the games that did happen in simulation. And we start with the #1 team in the country, Western Carolina. They went on the road and take care of business against Jackson State in conference play, as they win 45-10. In addition, James Madison did get a challenge from the Delaware State Hornets, as Delaware State putting together a pretty solid campaign overall, but they will fall short against the #10 team in the land, as James Madison ekes out a 42-35 win. But that being said, we do have some good matchups here. Some top 25 teams that were featured. Nicholls State, for example, they did play Appalachian State, as the Colonels get to 4-1 now after a 31-14 win over the Mountaineers. Akron themselves too, they continue to impress in MAC action, as they beat the Buffalo Bulls 38-17 on the road. But you want to talk about trouble in paradise potentially. The Southern Jaguars certainly fits that mold. They're now just 2-3 on this season, as they drop another game in conference play, this time to the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State, as MVSU wins 31-28. Temple will be having a longer stay in the top 25, though, as a surprising challenge from the Howard Bison. Howard does fall to 1-5, though, as they lose to Temple at home 35-28. San Diego State also taking care of business in conference play, as their loss to UNLV does bring them to 4-1, but they did win here 29-22. So we have seen a couple of programs maybe having their downfall in the blue blood category. Are some other programs out there getting ready to take their place? One of such programs that could be on the cusp of blue blood status is Northern Arizona. They made their first FCS playoff appearance last year, and they come in number 12 in the country, and they will take on a solid Idaho State team. Idaho State, having a good start to their season as well. I believe either 2-0 or 2-1, something like that. Just a pretty good football team, but they got to find a way to deal with one of your guys' customs, Tyrone Wolf. And Tyrone Wolf, man, going to be coming out here. First drive of the game. He's going to hand out to the running back, but Daryl White's actually going to throw the football, and it's caught. Huge play to start things out here for Northern Arizona, as they got the running back out here throwing passes, and it actually does work out. We'll see if it can lead to a Northern Arizona touchdown. Tyrone's going to fire. It's going to be caught. Touchdown, Lumberjacks. In this dome here in Northern Arizona, it is absolutely loving it, as Tyrone Wolf firing one down the sideline and getting it to go down. So now 7-0 lead here, as Tyrone Wolf looking for already touchdown pass number 2, going out to the fullback here, and that fullback's going to make some big plays, as Tyrone Wolf now hitting 800 passing yards on the season. He's been having a solid campaign so far for the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks, as we now have 2nd and 10 from the 34-yard line following that completion, as Wolf gets plenty of time. He wants another touchdown pass down the field, and mosses 2 defenders. That's Gibson mossing multiple defenders in a cover 2. I mean, there was time for a second defender to get over, but hey, it didn't even matter, though. Northern Arizona taking that 14-0 lead, but Idaho State, they're going to show a little bit of fight here, as Phil Sims is going to get his 2nd sack of the season. But Northern Arizona is still driving. A couple plays later, 2nd and 10. Tyrone Wolf tried to take off. That might have been a design quarterback run there. Also running right into a defender. Now it's 3rd and 14. Tyrone looking down the left-hand side, needs 14 for a first down, and listen, Oh boy, sometimes it is just better to be lucky than it is to be good. This is a good play here by Hall. He deflects the football away. Trying to make a play on the football. Couldn't get that second hand in there, but still ends up getting completed anyways. Like I said, better to be lucky than to be good. Now, it makes it a 1st and goal from the 8-yard line. Tyrone dropping back over the middle of the field, and it's caught! Another touchdown for the Lumberjacks. And Tyrone Wolf, he is feeling himself, already getting that hat trick here in the first half, as that will indeed make it 21-0. That will be your score. And now, a lot of work to do for Chris Palmer, who is a pretty nice quarterback himself, and that's a big reason for Idaho State's success so far, as Palmer rolls out to his left, throws across his body, and is still able to make that big-time reception. We'll see if that defense can come out and help him out just a little bit. It's been a rough time for the Idaho State defense, and special teams is not doing any favors either, as that is going to be taken all the way back to the crib. He's going to run all the way home, as that is a 94-yard touchdown. I thought that man was going to run straight to the dorms. So now Idaho State, they at this point now have their backup quarterback in the game. Chris Palmer does end up hurting himself. So this is Brian Ard, who comes in for Idaho State now. Henry Corso, he is one of your guys' customs and is a very talented quarterback in his own right, but he's being redshirted, I believe, this year, as Ard will try to right the ship here after giving up a touchdown because of one of his interceptions. It's just nothing's happening for Northern Arizona today, as Idaho State, they take yet another sack, and that is all she wrote. Northern Arizona winning convincingly in this one, 52-14, as Idaho State, they will be taking their first loss of the season. So now we jump into what I hope will be a little bit more of a competitive game, as we got North Dakota State, who did lose their first game of the season in a previous matchup to Northern Arizona, and they will be taking on the Eagles of Eastern Washington, another school that is looking for their first conference win of the season. They did drop their conference opener to Weber State, who was also featured in the Week 6 episode here in season number 5. We'll see who can come out here and get themselves back on track, as we could jump in and see Greg Keefe try to run this option offense, and he just stops for a second. I really don't know what he was trying to do there, but whatever he was attempting to do, it was not working. That was not working at all, and now we're looking at an Eastern Washington turnover. They don't score, but they pinned them deep, and that's how they ended up getting the safety. But Carl J. Falzon also gets hurt in this game as well, so Chance Jones will come in for the Eastern Washington Eagles and see if he can do enough on offense at the very least to give his team an opportunity to win this game and pull the upset. And that is not how you want to do it. Chance Jones throwing a costly interception that is going to be taken all the way down the sideline, and that's going to be a touchdown for Justin Finnerty. And that's how this first score is going to happen, not from an offensive touchdown. Oh no, it's actually going to be from a defensive touchdown. So now Eastern Washington finds itself down 7-2, as Chance Jones is going to try to drop back in the pocket again. But North Dakota State, they bring the heat, and they certainly brought that pressure there. Nowhere to go for Chance Jones. It's going to be a 3rd and long now that he has to deal with. Trying to find some space. Fires over the middle of the field. It's caught right and around the Eastern Washington logo. That was not an easy pass to fit in there, but somehow he did manage to find a way to get it in. And now Eastern Washington with a fresh set of downs to work with, but another long sack, and this time it's one of your customs that is going to get involved. That is Maximus O'Hara, the true freshman that makes that sack. And now another 3rd and long, looking to try to throw downfield, and it's caught first down and throwing over the head of Justin Finnerty. Oh, Eastern Washington, they really needed that. That was also Maximus O'Hara on the tackle. So now in the red zone, looking to at least cut it down to just a couple of points. But Chance Jones, he wants the lead instead, and he's going to get it. Touchdown, Eastern Washington. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to go for the 2-point conversion this early in the game so that they can make it an even 3-point lead for the Eagle squad. But they choose not to go down that path. They have the lead, so they're going to be up by 2 points with it being a very defensive game. But it looks like it's the Eagles that are starting to really open things back up, as Chance Jones, after that rough start that he had when he initially came in relief for Carl Johnson Thousand, he will end up throwing a touchdown pass yet again. And Eastern Washington, them Eagles, are going to extend the lead. And now we're looking at a 16-7 affair. North Dakota State, they have a decent pocket passer, a quarterback, but this offense still not necessarily built to pass the football. We'll see if they can try to get something going on the offensive end, but it's not happening right now. It is simply not happening at the moment, as Smith is going to pick off Gerald Keefe. Another golden opportunity for Eastern Washington to add points up on the scoreboard before we go into the halftime locker room. And Chance, he's going to make that chance, and he's going to cash it in. Touchdown, Eastern Washington. And the Eagles get another score up on the scoreboard. Chance Jones, he's coming to play today. And that's a touchdown for the Eastern Washington Eagles. And they get yet another chance to put points up on the board, but this one they won't be so happy about. They do end up turning the football over on downs. North Dakota State does not do anything with that, though, and they're still going to be down 23-7 at the half. Late in the third quarter, as both teams have slowed down offensively in the start of the third quarter, until Chance Jones trying to throw down the right-hand side. He does run into Justin Finnerty once again. That does end up getting picked off. Maybe that will spark this Bison offense. This Bison offense that has not really been able to run the football on the Eastern Washington Eagles today. And even though they score, or they got the interception, they couldn't do anything with it yet again. But maybe those turnovers will turn into something eventually. We will see another interception, as Gerald Keefe will take over at about the 45-yard line. As Keefe drops back, they're going to actually try to pass this time. That's intercepted as well. Both quarterbacks just not really on their game today, as that is been 3 interceptions for Garrett Keefe. We also see 3 interceptions as well for Chance Jones. Just nobody won this game, it seems like. And fourth quarter, we jump into that fourth quarter, and could be one of those things where neither team brought their A game on offense. Defense has been playing great. They really have been playing really phenomenal thus far. But 23-7 is still your score, and trying to run out this clock, they actually try to pass the football, and Wilkerson makes the play. Wilkerson will make the play, and that will actually seal things up, as that will turn into a field goal. Eastern Washington will win this football game by a final score of 26-7. So the Eagles, they do get their first win in conference play, but even more surprising, North Dakota State, they lose their second conference game in a row, and they fall to 2-2. So definitely their slowest start that they have here in this FCS Dynasty, but great win here for the Eastern Washington Eagles. But now we go to another conference game, as there's another school that's trying to get a little bit of respect for themselves. It's Alabama State. Now, I specifically do remember a time where Alabama State was getting absolutely dunked on, because they were ranked in the top 25, if you guys remember, back in season number 1, and then they gave up the most points in FCS history, at least in this series. They gave up over 100 points to New Mexico State. And now Alabama has a state to legitimately be ranked, and they actually got a solid squad. They're 3-1, and they get to take on a Texas Southern team that's ranked in the top 10. If they can win this game, they can really come out here and get that top 25 ranking, put some respect on their name. But they are not going to make it easy, as Solomon West, he will get the scoring started for the Texas Southern Tigers. He gets the first touchdown in the game as he was able to pull Devin Hesser and run that right into the crib. As now they're going to try to extend this lead 13-3 at this point for the Texas Southern Tigers. And we know that this offense is really centered around Roderick Murray, who is in the backfield as of right now, but they won't go to him. Instead, Adam Mayhew is going to try to pass this football, and it's intercepted. Alabama State high stepping down the sideline, and thanks to Mike Montgomery, we're back in it. Alabama State pulls just within a few points of the Texas Southern Tigers. And that score remains all the way to the fourth quarter of action. Still 13-10. Texas Southern, they might be on upset alert now, as that's another interception thrown by Adam Mayhew. Big time defense for the Alabama State Hornets. And now just 32 yards away from taking the lead against the number 9 team in college football. We got a quarterback situation. T.Y. Huntley, he wants to take the lead now, and he does! Touchdown, Alabama State! And T.Y. Huntley delivers an absolute dime into the end zone. And how about this? Alabama State with a chance to win this game, and Texas Southern, they don't do anything on their next possession. They could run out the rest of this clock if they want to, but no! They try to throw the football, and T.Y. Huntley is going to be intercepted. That is the first turnover that Alabama State has in this entire game, and just not ideal, man. Not ideal at all. Trying to get it to the fellow custom, Trey Williams, who's also a senior on this team. So now Texas Southern takes over at the 8-yard line, and when it's this close, you know who's going to get that football. It's Roderick Murray. The Roderick Murray Show is going to lead to another score, and it's 20-17. Alabama State, they go free now in their next possession. You could really start to feel that this game starts to slip away as Roderick Murray starting to take over down the sideline, does get tackled out of bounds, but that will put Roderick Murray over 100 yards on the game. We do not expect anything less, as that does put Texas Southern in another red zone situation. Mayhew gonna go play action, fires down the right hand side. It's gonna be caught in the end zone, and it's another touchdown for the Texas Southern Tigers. And this time it's one of your customs that makes the catch in the end zone. That's Jay Balmer, the sophomore, making a play. So now we're really just hoping for Alabama State to do anything. They're in desperation mode. And unfortunately, it looks like that clock is going to strike midnight. And something that wasn't really documented, and why this was such a low-scoring game for a long time, both teams got a lot of sacks. Texas Southern in particular allowed 9 sacks. They got 9 sacks on T.Y. Huntley. That just showed the toughness of T.Y. as he stayed in the entire game, but that will not be enough. You need a little bit more of a toughness to win in this beautiful sport that is college football. And we will end up seeing the Texas Southern Tigers. They were on upset alert in the fourth quarter, but they do rattle off 17 unanswered points. And that number 9 team in college football, they will be remaining in the top 10 at least for one more week. They win by a final score of 30-17, as they will now be 4-1, while Alabama State, they will be taking their second loss of the season. So it's been a decent run for the top 25 teams in those later game slates. We'll see if that continues with number 11, Eastern Kentucky, as they play host to the Eastern Illinois Panthers, who kind of have that overrated slate on them. They were a preseason top 25 team, but they have really not looked like that. 1-2 so far, 0-2 in conference play, and they're outside the top 25 right now. So we'll see if Eastern Kentucky can take advantage of that and continue to build their resume as we try to get a little bit closer to the FCS playoffs. As now Eastern Illinois. They will start with the football as Waddell, he's going to lob one up over to the left-hand side. He's got Rags to riches. Ralph Rags, the custom. And he starts with a big-time gain, a 40-yard reception. How about this ball? Beautifully plays football, and a great start for the Eastern Illinois offense. 2nd and 4 now from the 31-yard line as Waddell is going to try to run around and make something happen, but eventually he runs into the defensive end, Marshawn Palmer, who's one of your guys' customs as well. Eventually it leads to a 4th and short with Eastern Illinois going for it, and they almost score the touchdown there. Wow, what an incredible run right in the heart of the Eastern Kentucky defense. And now it's 1st and goal from the 2-yard line, trying to finish the drive, and they do. Eastern Illinois is going to score on its opening drive, and they take a 7-0 lead against the number 11 team in college football. So now Eastern Kentucky will take over as Cameron Coates tries to go to work. He's been having a decent season. He is going to try to attack deep downfield as well, but is going to be intercepted by one of your guys' customs as well, Russell Matthews, and he's going to go all the way. He'll score a touchdown too. That's a 70-yard return. Russell Matthews, somebody get the x-ray machine out, because he certainly has that dog in him. And now Eastern Kentucky finds itself down 14-0 already, and it's going to get worse as Cameron Coates, he will throw yet another interception. And not only does he throw yet another interception, then also gets taken back to the crib as well. So that's 2 defensive touchdowns for Eastern Illinois. If you're going to pull an upset against this Eastern Kentucky squad who likes to, have control of the football, really lean on that running game with Luis Rosé in the backfield, this is how you do it. Get off to a strong start and put them out of their comfort zone. But this is not how you want to do it, though. Ralph Rags is going to fumble the football, and Eastern Kentucky will get their hands on it. So maybe this will be a turning point here for the Eastern Kentucky Colonels, as they'll start essentially in the red zone. We'll see if they can finish down there. As it's 3rd and short from the 8-yard line, this will likely be final play of the first quarter as Coates throws a 3rd interception. You can't make this up. Cameron Coates is folding right now. He is folding like a lawn chair on a summer day. He is simply folding, and that's a big interception too. You could have at least gone away with a field goal, something, but they don't get anything there. So now Eastern Illinois will take over at about the 9-yard line after that untimely interception. They're going to try to set up a halfback pass here, and it actually works. The halfback pass legitimately works, and not only that, we're going to have another touchdown on the board. That's a 91-yard touchdown for the running back. And just nobody there to guard him. What is Eastern Kentucky looking like? This is a common trick play, and they got fooled by that? That's crazy. 28-0 is going to be your score, and this is certainly one of the more shocking developments that we are seeing here, as Ralph Rags is going to extend this lead even further now. It's 35-0. That will be your score, 35-0. All of that, and we're still not at halftime yet. Ralph Rags gets a 2nd receiving touchdown of the game, just runs away from the Eastern Kentucky secondary, and down 35-0. This is an embarrassing point here for the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. They're still not trying to abandon that running game, but you know that Eastern Illinois is keying in on that run game when the safeties are coming down. That's how Russell Matthews was able to make that tackle. So when those safeties come down, you got to throw behind them, and eventually Cameron Coates does recognize that. Eastern Kentucky does finally get up on the scoreboard, and that will be a 55-yard touchdown for Cameron Coates. Just throwing it right over the outstretched hands of that free safety, which again, was playing, pretty close up to the line of scrimmage, expecting a run from Luis Rosé. But I expect Eastern Kentucky to throw the football a whole lot now that this lead is very significant. And Cameron Coates is responding, at least making it a little bit more manageable of a deficit to overcome. They're going to be down 38-14 after half, so it's a free possession game. Certainly seen teams come back from more, though. Coach is going to start the second half with a throw over to the left-hand side. It's caught over to Chris Vaughn, and Chris Vaughn is going to eventually be brought down. Chris Vaughn is having a solid game, at least being that deep threat receiver for the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. He is now sitting at over 100 yards receiving on the day so far, and it takes him to the 38-yard line. Coach looking to throw again over to the left-hand side. That's also to Chris Vaughn. This time in double coverage. Doesn't matter. Maintains the concentration. And now the Colonels find themselves in the red zone. And they've been a solid red zone team so far this year. About 80% of their possessions end with points. And when you have Louis Rosé, it's easy to see why. Especially for someone that actually was a preseason Heisman Trophy candidate. He has fallen off partially because Eastern Kentucky has not had a great season so far, but the Colonels, they're not completely out of this now. You imagine saying that when Eastern Illinois take that 35-0 lead. They've been on a 22-3 run ever since, but Cameron Coates fumbles the football, and this one is going to be costly as Eastern Illinois will fall on it. That's the 4th turnover for Cameron Coates today, and just not what you wanted to see out of your offense here today. Looking for that get-right game, and they are certainly not getting right now. Eastern Illinois will eventually turn that into a field goal, so now it's back to being a free possession game. Down by 19, Chris Vaughn does make another big catch downfield, gets out of those tackles, and Chris Vaughn will run it all the way down into the end zone. That's a touchdown for the Colonels. He will choose not to celebrate, though. It's hard to celebrate when you're down by so much against a team that, frankly, you're expected to win. And 41-29, still your score. Trying to get anything to happen. Cameron Coates is actually going to try to run for it. And not short of the first down marker. There actually is a fumble, which I'm not completely sure who recovered said fumble. But either way, it was a 4th down. Eastern Illinois got the ball, and while we didn't score, that does take a bunch of time off the clock, and it seems increasingly possible after that brief moment where we really did think that Eastern Kentucky was going to come back and win this football game. Well, those mistakes keep adding up once again, and now basically impossible to win unless an act of God comes out on the field in the next 13 seconds. This could help a little bit, though, as Cameron Coates is going to throw one out to the right-hand side. It does get caught into the end zone. It is a touchdown. It's just one of those things, man. Like, why couldn't this happen for Eastern Kentucky a little bit more often? They needed this when this game was actually close. If they had some of this while they were still in the first half, for example, I think this could have been a different game. But now it comes down to an onside kick. An onside kick decides whether Eastern Kentucky will have a legitimate shot to win this game, or will Eastern Illinois escape down the fields of Kentucky with the upset. And it looks like it will be recovered by the Panthers, and it is over here. Eastern Illinois pulls the upset, and they win by a final score of 41-36, and they are going to go and bust out the Gatorade bath for this coach, who is just so happy with how his guys played. It's been a turbulent season for Eastern Illinois, but they found a way to win. They found a way to win this football game, and that's really all you can ask. Eastern Kentucky, though, lots of things to be concerned about. They did play a lot of football this year. They have not had a single bye week yet, but they're going to be 4-3. 4-3, and it becomes even more likely that they're going to need that conference championship title in order to go to the FCS playoffs, because an at-large bid, looking a little bit less likely now. So as we progress through the night, we have some more FCS scores being reported in, and Elon proves that they could be a playoff caliber team eventually, as they beat Rhode Island pretty convincingly 49-17. In other news, UNLV, we were talking about them in the last studio update, but they do beat Southern Missouri State 45-14 on the road. It was an impressive blowout victory. Speaking of blowouts, we do have a non-blowout here in the battle for the red belt, as Murray State, they just got themselves into the top 25, but they will lose to their bitter rival Western Kentucky 31-19 in conference play. But now let's go ahead and hop into the FCS game of the week, and it features two teams that are essentially in that top 5. We got Northwestern State, who comes in number 5 in the country, and they will be taking on your defending national champions, the Georgia Southern Eagles, who come in ranked number 6 in the entire country. And it is a very highly anticipated SEC battle. Should be a good one. One in which Lee Corso is going to be rocking with Northwestern State. We'll see if he is right or not. As we start with the opening drive, Northwestern State actually does end up going 3 and out, but Georgia Southern is going to put the football on the ground, and it will be recovered by Northwestern State. So it was a good job by that Georgia Southern defense to get that 3 and out, but the special teams does end up folding just a little bit there, and that's going to lead to a Northwestern State touchdown with Bo Arias leading the way, and also getting that scoring started as well for the Northwestern State Demons, as they're trying to go on demon time right there. So is Bo Arias, who finds a hole in the defense, running away from everybody inside, and Bo Arias dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Northwestern State. Bo Arias certified on demon time as of right now. You love to see it, as Northwestern State takes a 14-0 lead, but Bo Arias is also going to take some shots in the process as well. Mark Wesley, who started the national championship game last year, practically took his head off, and now it's going to be a 3rd and long. Bo Arias is going to try to pass the football there, but outside of the hands of Matt Lewis, who for one reason or another just had a really hard time just locating the football, period. So now Georgia Southern, they got a chance to put points on the board finally, and they will. Georgia Southern will find their way into the end zone, but David Benson also managing to get hurt on that drive, unfortunately. And after that, just nothing happening for either team. Northwestern State does survive, even though it was a more defensive matchup. Not really anything too crazy happening. Maybe the game did not live up to the hype that maybe it was expected to have, but still a fun game to watch nonetheless, as Northwestern State, they will go ahead and remain undefeated on the season. They are now 6-0 and looking like a virtual lock to get into the playoffs, whereas Georgia Southern still has playoff hopes, as they're sitting at 4-2. Speaking of some teams that do have some FCS playoff hopes, we now go back to the Big 12 Conference, as we have another top 25 matchup on our hands. Both teams trying to taste Alcorn State, who is currently sitting in first place right now in the Big 12. I believe it's the South Division that we are taking a look at. I'm the South or the North. I really can't remember at this point. The mind ain't really treating me right, but someone who is doing Chattanooga right, though, is Mark Spicer. He's been having a pretty spicy season thus far. 11 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions thrown. He's been having a pretty efficient year thus far, playing against a very tough Arkansas Pine-Bluff defense. As now, Spice is going to try to throw over the middle of the field, but it's going to be intercepted very early on there, as that is Brad Wilson that is going to make a play on the football. And that's how you start this game. Arkansas Pine-Bluff can come out here. They're making some good plays on the ball. That's exactly how we want to start things out here, especially in the top 25 game of this magnitude. Can Nail Matthew, though, rise to the challenge, though? And he does. That is a huge play. And now Arkansas Pine-Bluff finds itself in a good spot themselves. First down for the Golden Lions. Now, a few plays later, they do have a 3rd and 10. Naeem Matthews trying to throw towards the end zone across his body, and finds Tompkins in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Pine-Bluff. And Arkansas Pine-Bluff takes the lead, and just a big time throw there by Naeem Matthews as the Golden Lions enjoy a 7-0 lead. A lead that could very well get a little bit bigger, as that's another completion for this quarterback, this custom player at quarterback. Now in Chattanooga territory again. Now they're going to try to throw here they're out there trying to do something. I don't know what they're trying to do, but oh boy, that pass was really off target there. I don't know what we were trying to accomplish there, to be honest. Adam Carter definitely let him off the hook with this throw. Think they were trying to set up the big play over to Naeem Matthews, but he was covered, man. He was extremely covered. Not really something that you want to do in a golden opportunity loss. As of right now, as Chattanooga still finds itself down just 7-0, at least until Adam Carter puts his hands on the football once again, and he takes it all the way into the end zone. That's a touchdown for the Golden Lions. And so Adam Carter does make up for that. 14-0 your score. He threw an interception on the halfback pass, and instead he gets another touchdown as well. So 14-0 is still your score, and it looks like it could go even bigger towards the other way, as Simeon Baker actually got that fumble recovery there. I'm pretty sure that's who I saw, as the Golden Lions do get a field goal there. Now 17-0 lead. Chattanooga trying to get back into this game, but Arkansas Pine-Bluff all over Mark Spicer in this one. He's not been very spicy. He only got that salt and pepper in him today, apparently. Can the rest of the team pick up the slack? And this will help, as Naeem Matthews throws an interception there as well. And that is going to be a huge start of a field position for Chattanooga at the 46-yard line, trying to get it out the hallway there. Unfortunately, Chattanooga cannot do anything with the ball. And now Naeem Matthews comes back out onto the field, trying to throw another big-time ball down the field. And, just both teams turn the football over yet again. That's the third turnover for Arkansas Pine-Bluff. And the crazy thing is, they're not even losing the turnover battle right now. That's the crazy part in all of this. Been a very sloppy game for both teams so far. So then Chattanooga takes over 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line, as Spicer still looking for his first touchdown pass of the game, but we might be exposing that Chattanooga squad, as remember, they came in number 4 in the country. Yes, they were the number 4 team in college football, and offensively, they're certainly not playing like that. Arkansas Pine-Bluff is really embarrassing them so far. They will get another field goal, and they're up 20-0 as they try to get into halftime. But yeah, Mark Spicer just not having the day that you're looking for. Remember, he only had 3 interceptions coming into this game. He threw 4 of them today, and we're still not done yet. He's going to throw pick number 5, and this time Jacob Brightman actually is going to take it back to the crib. That's a touchdown. That's one of your guys' customs. Jacob Brightman, that is just having dreams and nightmares for Mark Spicer. And Arkansas Pine-Bluff with a bigger lead now, 27-3. As Spicer still trying to throw the football. He's not going to quit on those big throws. Finally connects with one of his favorite receivers. And that favorite receiver of his is Mike Thomas, another custom player that is playing in this ball game. It sets up 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line. But there is a different quarterback in the game, though. But there is going to be a similar result, though. That will end up being intercepted. And it looks like it's one of the corners this time that gets their hands on the football. Oh, just a lot of mistakes here by Chattanooga offense. Just really doing itself not any favors. Arkansas Pine-Bluff will get itself down the field. They get another field goal. It's 30-3. It's a pretty big disaster going on right now. But Mike Thomas will at least make another big play down the sideline. And that's a 1st down for Chattanooga inside the 40-yard line. They're probably not going to win this game at this point, but still showing that fight. They're not going to quit, as that backup quarterback is still in the game. So it might be a benching there for Mark Spicer. I'm not really too sure what's going on there, but I do know that they're starting to find a little bit of a rhythm finally on offense. It's been that kind of day for the Mocs. But Chattanooga, they continue to fight on. And listen, not every game is going to be like this for Chattanooga. You're going to have your bad days. And today is just a bad day to have a bad day. Here on national television, getting a lot of spotlight on this Chattanooga squad. But now we'll see if Sean Brown can actually get his first passing touchdown of the season. He has actually not thrown one yet. He does have that interception from earlier today, though, as Brown will fire towards the back of the end zone. It is caught. That was a really nice toe drag there by Marco Walker, one of your guys' custom setter in this game as well. And the coverage was actually pretty good. The coverage was actually really strong there. There was also Simeon Baker there on the coverage, but it does not change the final result. It does make that scoreboard look a little bit nicer towards Chattanooga, but Arkansas Pine-Bluff, they do pull the upset on the number 4 team in the country, and doing so on the road too. This is not easy to go on the road really at all in this FCS Dynasty. It's a different story going to a team that's ranked in the top 25 that has those playoff aspirations like Chattanooga has. And that will be Chattanooga's first loss of the season, while Arkansas Pine-Bluff, they get back to above 500 as they are now sitting at 3-2, and a team that's had a pretty difficult schedule too, so that's why they're ranked as high as they are. But for the final game that we have here in this episode, at least from a gameplay perspective, we are going to take a look at Jacksonville State. We have not really covered Jacksonville State very often in this series, and that's because Jacksonville State hasn't done anything spectacular, but they do have a big moment here. They're going up against the Samford Bulldogs, who are ranked in the top 25. It is a very key conference game, but we do see that Ashton Hines is still hurt, so Hans Wofford is going to make his first collegiate start. He was okay in relief, but we'll see if he can play against a solid Jacksonville State squad. So definitely something to watch out for moving forward, as Mario Brunner gets absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree there. He's going to take a loss of 4 in his first carry of the day, but Jacksonville State, they will end up turning the football over eventually, as Paul Davis is going to make an interception on the football, and that INT provides Samford and really this young quarterback in Hendrick Solo good field position. That's exactly what you want to do when you got a backup quarterback. Put him in easy spots, and Solo going to try to attack towards the end zone. It finds his guy. Touchdown, Samford. And Hendrick Solo just getting a good throw. He's, one thing that is nice about him and why he's going to be a good starting quarterback someday at the FCS level, he's got a lot of confidence, man. You got to have confidence to be a good starting quarterback, really at any level. And Jacksonville State, man, they do not have confidence in their quarterback, I'm sure. He just threw his second interception, and we are still not even through the first quarter of play. Very good start here for the Samford Bulldogs. But nothing else happens after that, and it actually was a very low-scoring game at the half. It is 7-0. We'll see if things change here in the second half here, as Hendrick Solo starts with a pass, but it's going to be intercepted by the fellow custom DeMarcus McNeil, who finally helps Jacksonville State find the scoreboard. There's the touchdown that they were looking for, and, their offense has had opportunities. They have dominated the time of possession, but just haven't been able to finish. Maybe this will help them, get together here, as Hendrick Solo tries to attack downfield again. That is actually nearly intercepted as well, but it is completed deep down the sideline. That's a huge first down for the Samford Bulldogs, taking his chance on one-on-one coverage. So now, 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line, as Hendrick Solo is in the pistol. Actually, the running back's going to take it here. He's actually got loose here all the way into the end zone. Touchdown, Samford, as the number 17 team in all of college football. They will retake the lead. Could put us in for a fun fourth quarter, as it's still a close game. Hendrick, he's going to try to throw to the right-hand side again, but he throws another interception down the sideline, and Jacksonville State, using their defense, has just tied this football game up. And this Jacksonville State squad, remember, they have not been ranked in the top 25 in the entire series. A win like this could help pervade them into the top 25 for the very first time in this series. We'll see if the Gamecocks can come out and take advantage. As now, first and goal from the 2-yard line. Jacksonville on the brink of taking the lead. They're going to go to Mario Brunner into the end zone, and that is a touchdown for the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. They will take the lead yet again. It is 21-14, and Hendrik Solo now has to put the game on his back a little bit. This is exactly what Jacksonville State wanted. Make this backup quarterback beat you. Solo dropping back, fires to the right-hand side, but a big-time catch. Double coverage, but Brad Thompson does not care. He does not care about your feelings as he mosses multiple defenders. And he now sits with 120 yards receiving on the day. Do they go back to Thomas on the play action? Hendrik fires, end zone. They find Thomas again. And this game is going to be all knotted up at 21 apiece. Jacksonville State cannot score. And this play alone determines whether we go to overtime or will we see a miracle. Solo has some time. He fires. It's up. It's caught. It's caught. Touchdown, Samford. And we got a walk-off down here in Alabama. Oh, what a painful loss for Jacksonville State. Hendrik Solo had the time. He got hit as he threw that football, but delivered that perfect strike. And Samford, in a rivalry game, by the way, they win 27-21. Jacksonville State, this is going to sting them for a while, though. So before we go and take a look at the newest Sports Illustrated magazine to see, any changes in top 25 and all that good stuff, there was one other top 25 team that was featured in those late games, and it was Southeast Missouri State. They went on the road to take on the Tennessee State Tigers, and Southeast Missouri State, it was an ugly game, but they found a way to win. They won by a final score of 21-9, as the Red Hawks do get to 4-2, and at least for another week, will remain in that top 25. So we already see the ramifications of the game of the week as we see that Northwestern State and Georgia Southern game on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But what kind of effect does that have on the top 25, if there is any such at all? We look at the top 25 now as we don't have any change in the first few teams. Western Carolina, Akron, and Sacramento State do remain in their same spots, but after that, we do have some changes. Northwestern State moves up 1 spot. Texas Southern moves up 4 spots after their win against Alabama State. James Madison is almost in the top 10 with a 7-point win over Delaware State. After that, we do have some drops. Chattanooga falls to number 7 in the country after their 20-point loss to Arkansas Pine-Bluff. It was an embarrassing game. Northern Arizona was not embarrassed as they went up 4 spots. A huge win against against Idaho State. Arkansas Pine-Bluff gets into the top 10 as well. They look like a legit squad. And then Sam Houston State gets back into the top 10. They were on bye this past week. As for the remaining portions of the top 25, Georgia Southern falls to number 11 in the country after their touchdown loss to Northwestern State. San Diego State is hanging in there. They're up 2 spots after their win against South Dakota State. Portland State moves up 3 in spite of a bye, as does Weber State. They, were very big beneficiaries of last week's action. Samford, they had a close call against Jacksonville State, but they do survive and move up a couple of spots because of that. Now, in the lower part of the top 25, we got North Dakota State. They are now down to number 16 in the country as they start 0-2 in conference play. Nicholls State, opposite for them. They're on a 2-0 conference start. They're up a couple of spots. Southeast Missouri State also moving up 2 spots as well, alongside North Texas. Now for the final 5 teams in the AP Top 25. As of right now, we got New Hampshire. They are down to number 20 in the country. Eastern Kentucky is now sitting at number 21. Eastern Illinois, after their win against Eastern Kentucky, they get back into the top 25. They did fall out this past week, with Tennessee Martin moving up 1, Temple moving up 1, and then New Mexico State. They are that 25th and final team, and they make their first appearance in the AP Top 25 this season. Now, as for the 2 teams that did drop out, Murray State and Southern did drop out of the top 25, But some teams to watch out for moving forward: Eastern Washington and Florida A&M, as Eastern Washington has 130 votes with Florida A&M getting 123. Murray State is also still receiving some votes as well. They can get back to the top 25 if they can win their next game. As for what's going on with the Heisman watch as of right now, and not a lot of changes in the top 2. Stephen Robinson is sitting there at number 1 with his big win against Oral Roberts. And then sitting at number 2 is Darren Wells, who was a pivotal part in terms of taking care of business against the Howard Bison. But beyond that, there is some changes. Brett Tretzel, a senior quarterback from Eastern Michigan, he's having a great year so far, 21 total touchdown passes. He now is sitting at number 3 in the Heisman watch. And rounding out the group is 2 guys from Northwestern State, both on the offensive side of football. Eric Washington, who falls to 4 after being held relatively quiet against Georgia Southern. And then we also have Bo Arias, who now has 10 touchdowns on the season. He is the highest Heisman person that is a custom player. And finally, in terms of players of the week, we got Rich Miniacci on the offensive side of the football. It was a close game for him at Arkansas State, but North Texas still undefeated in spite of that. He had 4 total touchdowns and was a difference maker in the backfield. On the defensive side of the ball, there is no surprises. Jacob Brightman, the senior middle linebacker, that's one of your guys' customs as well, was pivotal in their win against Chattanooga, pulling off that upset. Even though he only had 5 tackles, he made the most of his tackles, getting a TFL, a sack, a forced fumble, and not to mention those silky smooth hands. He had 3 interceptions on the game, and one of them he did manage to return for a defensive touchdown. But guys, that will wrap things up here for week number 7 action, and we are already halfway through the FCS season here in year number 5. There's been some good games. There's been some good actions here on the season, and hoping to maintain that intensity as we're starting to get a little bit more clear of a picture of the teams that will make it to the FCS playoffs. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you enjoyed today's video, I would truly appreciate it if you smack that like button for me so that we can get this out to more people that enjoy college football like you guys right now, as well as hit that subscribe button if you have to be brand new to the channel, and frankly, like what you see here, appreciate the vibe. But with that being said, I am headed out, and I hope you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.